What's going on, boxing fans? It's Julian Williams with The Distance, back with another video number 6 today. Kind of making up for lost time, though I did only intend to do one video. But anyway, this is about Klitschko versus Chambers, not airing in the United States. You know, honestly, I'm very baffled by it because HBO has aired fights, you know, with both fighters before. You know, the last fight was that they aired with Klitschko was against Rockmont. But you know, they wanted to air Klitschko versus Hay, but you know, he decided to fight Shagayev, and they decided not to air it, and it's airing on ESPN Classic, you know, anyway. But anyway, this fight between Klitschko and Chambers, why isn't it airing in the United States? At least, to say the least. I don't know if it's airing in Europe. I don't know if it's airing anywhere else. You know, but I know that in the United States, you have to pay $14.95 on Klitschko.com just to watch this fight on a live stream. You know, on live streams, you know, and me myself who have used live streams to watch some of my pay-per-views, because I don't really believe in buying some of these boxing pay-per-views like the Latin Furies I don't buy. You know, me, I'm not gonna personally, I'm not buying the pay-per-view because, you know, with live streams, you don't know what's gonna happen. You're gonna have, you know, you're possibly gonna get like some lags and stuff. You're gonna get somebody to fucking bootleg it and put it all on Justin TV, and you know, and then it starts to air slow because everybody's watching, you know, from that stream and stuff. And you know, you'll never know what happens with live streams, so I don't mess with live streams. But I wonder why HBO, ESPN Classic, ESPN, you know, versus Fox Sports Net are not airing this fight. You know, if you have to break every network down, you know, it's like HBO, you know, you've aired fights like Klitschko Johnson, really Klitschko versus Kevin Johnson, a guy who had no chance of hell in winning, you know, with Billy being a swarm and him being a counter puncher. You know, they aired, you know, Durrell versus Stevens 3 years ago actually. You know, he aired, you know, a lot of, you know, excuse my language, you know, HBO's aired a lot of shit fights. You know, like, in one of those shit fights was Dawson Tarver 2, a fight that, you know, nobody really watched, nobody really cared for, though it was a rematch. But you know, it was like we already saw it on Showtime, you know, but HBO, you know, bought that fight. You know, but they just, for some reason, they aired shit fights, but now a good fight's coming along and they don't want to air it, you know, here in the United States or wherever. They don't want to air it for some odd reason. And Klitschko, and why not air the fight? You have a man holding 4 belts, 2 major titles, Ring Magazine, and a computerized belt of the IBO. So, you know, this guy basically is the #1 heavyweight in the world. He's basically the undisputed champion. But, you know, his fights aren't being aired here. You know, if the Klitschkos were American, like D-Style had suggested, if they were American, would HBO air these fights, even though they were a little robotic? You know, and some people describe, you know, the Klitschkos as robotic, whatever. But, you know, it requires skill, you know, to be robotic and have it work for you the way that the Klitschkos have it work for them. You know, is Wladimir necessarily a boring fighter? I wouldn't call him a boring fighter. I think he's very skillful. I think he's good at what he does. I think that, you know, I think against some of the heavyweights in the past, I think that he would do well against some of the heavyweights in the past. You know, especially, you know, fight with the knockout ratio that him and his brother have. The fact that he could knock out fighters, you know, with a jab, him and his brother could knock out fighters with a jab. You know, apparently, you know, being robotic works for them. You know, but in this fight, what's intriguing to me, you know, as a boxing fan, what's intriguing to me is the fact that neither Klitschko's been outboxed. You know, both fights have been they're only knockouts. The only fights that they lost were knockouts. You know, take that in consideration. But this is a fight where Klitschko could get outboxed, out hustled, outworked, beat to the punch, whatever. You know, this is one of those fights, and for hardcore boxing fans, this is what you have to think about. But now the boxing fans are robbed, you know, of seeing a good fight. You know, it's like this, you know, versus fucking there, Hopkins versus Ornelas. Did, you know, any casual fan know who Enrique Ornelas was? Or, you know, they aired Danny Green versus Roy Jones the same night. Fox Sports and that, they air a lot of prospect fights. You know, now, you know, they air a lot of prospects fighting. You know, ESPN, they've been having some pretty good fights lately. You know, why not have this fight? The man that's holding, you know, 4 titles, you know, heavyweight champion. There's a lot of intrigue into the heavyweight division. There's always been intrigue in the heavyweight division. You know, people, you know, heavyweight is a common term in the world. It's a very common term. When people who don't even watch boxing think of boxing, and they talk about, you know, they talk about, yeah, I'm gonna be a champion boxer. Yeah, you're gonna be the heavyweight champion. You know, stuff like that. The heavyweight division, you know, brings a lot of intrigue to people. You know, because it's the biggest division, and there's a lot of intrigue and mystique about, you know, the bigger fighters. You know, people aren't saying like when I was a kid, when people would talk about, yeah, I'm gonna be a fighter, this, that, and the other, and or somebody would say, yeah, I used to be a fighter. It's like, oh yeah, were you a heavyweight? You know, you weren't thinking of bantamweight, featherweight, lightweight, welterweight, you know, middleweight. People weren't thinking of those terms, but that term that stood out and it comes to the mind is heavyweight. And unfortunately, this fight is not gonna air in the United States because, you know, because of greedy business execs and stuff like that. Greedy business execs who don't think that the Klitschkos are in quote unquote profitable. You know, even though one of the Klitschkos did have a fight, you know, that had high ratings, you know, even though they both have fought on HBO many times before, and they both do attract ratings and attract a lot of attention, why isn't HBO airing a fight where the younger brother could possibly lose? And Chambers vs. Klitschko is going to be a good fight. You know, no doubt about it. It's going to be a good fight. It's going to be very intriguing. It might be boring to some, but at the same time, it's going to be very intriguing. And Klitschko's been fighting on HBO for a while. You know, but anyway, you know, I think that the fact that it's not airing here in the United States, I think it's 100% bullshit. But you know, anyway, that's just my thoughts on that. I'm a bit frustrated about that because it's a fight I'm looking forward to. But if you're gonna watch it, you have to watch it on Klitschko.com here in the United States on a fucking lagging live stream. But anyway, that was The Distance. Thanks for watching. Peace.